Hello,
Pedro,
everybody.
why do you have a person that's called Spook Tram?
Because it's
What?
spooky.
Anyway,
Oh,
yeah, good.
Welcome, everybody, to the Shadow of the Colossus remake for the PlayStation 4.
Yay! My
So yeah,
favorite of the
we did
of the
the
trilogy of Wait
from the
Away and
crea-
Can't
from
Decide.
Fumito Ueda, the creator of The Last Guardian. Check out our LP, by the way. Um, this was the game he made before Last Guardian. Shadow of the Colossus was originally released on the PlayStation 2. It was remastered by Bluepoint Games on the PS3, and now we have a full-blown AAA remake once again made by Bluepoint Games. This was the game that issued a transitional phase from Bluepoint Games from a remastering studio to a remake studio. So yeah, this is their first ever full-blown remake, remade from the ground up.
although from what I hear, this is one of those more one-to-one remakes, though. Isn't
Yes,
like,
well,
well,
they retooled the controls and add some minor stuff here and there, made it more easier.
There's an
But
extra
otherwise, the game is
item,
pretty the same. But the game is otherwise is pretty much the same through and through.
which
at
makes
least they
sense.
didn't call it a remaster plus.
Which makes it sense, Joe, because trust me, like if they themselves, as we're gonna see in the extras part, they themselves are huge fans of this game, and they wanted to admit to like this game is already brilliant. We don't need to really change it
This
all that
is
much.
also kind of groundbreaking because this is a Western studio technically remaking a Japanese-made game.
But as we're going to, but if you actually do your research, Fumito Ueda himself has a tremendous amount of
Not just
respect for
that,
Bluepoint Games.
as the logos implied, the Japan studio also collaborated.
Not just that, but I'm pretty sure if Fumito Ueda, well, Fumito Ueda is credited as a supervisor in this remake in the credits, so he did supervise apparently. Not to mention Fumito Ueda himself. For those who don't know, when Ueda collaborated with Bluepoint Games on the PS3 remasters of Eco and Shadow of the Colossus, he literally said he was impressed with their work, calling them true craftsmen. So the fact that Bluepoint got that compliment from Ueda speaks a lot about why they were the right people to remake this
Especially
game.
considering Ueda himself wants to be a perfectionist. So basically, he wants everything to be on point. So
What you're seeing here,
compliment-
everybody, is a remake made by fans for fans. Because
It's using the Unreal Engine 4, right?
no, it's using
No.
the Bluepoint engine. Bluepoint has their
Oh,
own
okay.
internal engine that they use.
All right then.
So yeah, as you can
admit,
see, Theo, the opening is basically the exact same thing.
But they kind of changed the way the lighting is. One
Yeah,
thing that I
we'll talk
never
about that in a
understood
moment.
from the opening was if it was day, night, or like that. Here, it's much more clear on that.
See, the thing
Go ahead,
is,
Jova.
go ahead, Jova. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, I will admit, it's like a bit earlier, the lighting did seem a bit off, but now it's better, though. From what
Trust
I
me,
hear,
Jova,
that's up
individually was way worse. Can tell you that.
See, the thing, let me give you a brief demonstration, Shiroi. The original game came out on the PS2. Here's the problem. It was a massive open world game, which is kind of... The PS2, let's just say, was not really capable of handling that kind of thing.
Well, there were the GTA games, but those were
That's more like
on a
sandbox,
completely
more like...
Yeah, they were on a different level in
Yeah.
that regard.
This is a full-blown open world game, and the PS2 wasn't really capable of handling it, so as a result, in order to have the game, run at all, they had to basically basically give up on a lot of things. Like they had to have a shitty draw distance, they had to have a shitty lighting engine that made everything look radioactive.
Everything looked green.
However, now that those technical limitations are no longer a thing, Bluepoint decided to basically take the original artwork of the game and basically make it look exactly like. And as you can tell, Shiroi, the architecture is very similar to The Last Guardian. That's because all of the free games take place in the same universe. So it makes sense to finally have this game look like a proper Team Eco game. Because when you play Eco and Last Guardian, and then you play this remake, it feels right at home because it has the exact same kind of visual style.
When you get down to it, Last Guardian was technically open world. The thing was like, well, you were obviously restricted from going to
I'd
those
say
worlds.
Jova it functioned more like a Metroidvania of some kind, just in a more streamed way and not and linear rather than open.
What you have here, ladies and
That's sort of what I
gentlemen,
mean by that.
what you have here, ladies and gentlemen, is the greatest remake in the history of the video game industry. Never before have we ever seen a remake of an old game done to this extent of quality and budget and overall care. Like like it's just like the huge amount of extent. Oh, there you go. You can, by the way, for those who miss how the look of the original, you can actually customize the look of the game. You can in the words of Bluepoint themselves, we literally give you control of the art direction. So feel free to switch how the game looks. You can even put a night filter.
Basically, you have a shit ton of filters if you want to.
Oh yeah, here's another thing. They also created a new modern control scheme that will be much more easy to get into for gamers who are not familiar with Team Eco games. For example, instead of having the whole triangle to jump, X to crawl thing, they do the more traditional X to jump thing, which is the thing that most gamers are used to. So it helps make the controls much easier to get into for newcomers who may not have played it on the PS2 or PS3. You can also have this alternate
classic mode.
Very good, Joe.
Well, yeah, you have the choice to use the classic control scheme if you want.
Yeah, so those.
I'm fine either way.
So those of you who grew up playing the original, here's the classic control scheme, so you don't have to relearn a whole new scheme for playing this remake. So there you go. Aside from. I'm sorry. Yes, Jova?
Why was the triangle button of all things to jump one in the original?
That's because that's how Fumito Ueda's games are, Jova. He likes to map buttons to movement. Triangle to jump, X to crawl. Get it? Direction.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I can see some reasoning for it, but I mean, unlike Ape Escape, I think maybe it's a bit too extravagant just for the sake of being extravagant. Like now in Ape Escape,
also Jova, remember.
That's why you don't have to use it.
Also remember, Jova,
Japanese
studios, some Japanese studios had a different mindset when it comes to controls. Again, remember, Square Enix for a lot used the whole circle to confirm, X to cancel, rather than the opposite.
And Kingdom Hearts still uses the X to attack, circle button to jump.
We have these extras, but we'll show them off in the extras part. Well, let's start a new game on hard mode, because hard mode actually has extra hits to the bosses, so we can play a more complete version of sorts. You'll see.
So,
and we seamlessly transition from the title screen into the opening cutscene.
So basically, what you've seen so far is this mysterious boy on a horse
called Wander.
And with
Wander?
No. The man is called Wander and the horse is called Aggro. Basically, Jova, you'll be Wander. I'll be the entity that's about to show up in a moment, and Teo will be a certain other character that will only show up later.
Mm-hmm. Basically,
I also expected this game to also be silent.
No, it's not silent.
Oh no!
It's close, though, Shiri. A lot of things are told through visuals rather than just speaking. The game tells you what you need in a very brief way.
Also, the music in this game is fucking brilliant.
You can tell because, well, we're not listening to it yet.
Well, not yet, but trust me, like, wait till I get into... Well, it will become even more apparent in part 2, because that's
Will this be the case, the same case as with The Last of Us, where there's minimal soundtrack?
No, it's not minimal. For the most part, it's minimal, but when you're in a boss battle, the music kicks in full gear.
Basically, Shiro, here's how it is. Aside from some specific areas in the game, you don't have music when you're just running around in the open field. When you meet one of the Colossi, a specific theme plays, and when you start climbing on the Colossi, a more triumphant theme plays on it instead. Basically, the game reflects the situation as it goes on.
Okay.
The composer is called Ko Otani.
Yeah.
He worked for several also animes like Zatch Bell or City Hunter.
I absolutely love the look. I'm playing with the default look, and that's my preferred way, honestly, because it really feels like how this game would have looked like if it was made today by Fumito Ueda and his team. Because it looks look at the ground, for example. Sorry. Look at the ground. It looks just like we're in The Last Guardian again. Go ahead, Thierry, you were saying.
The only thing I am a bit miffed on, but I had agreed with what a couple people said, is once again the problem recurring for a lot of the PS4 game, the facial expressions. Wonder in this game looks less determined and more depressed than anything.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know, Theo. I
true.
think it kind of fits.
Well, no, I'm sorry. That's still not what the original intent of the game is. I know what the message of the game is, but I also know that Wander nonetheless is very full of determination, Shiroi.
Ooh,
Pedro. Because
cough.
Shiroi, Wander will tell you in a second, but yeah, as you can see, Wander is very sad about the situation of this girl. And similar to how Papanir is
Hold on.
for Yora, he will do...
That place
Hold
began from the resonance of intersecting points. This is Dormin, by the way.
Are you sure? I thought it was... whatever.
Good old Fumitomo,
They are
they're
mem-
always having that foreign language.
They are
that
memories
translates.
replaced by ends and not and etched into stone. Well, actually, no, never mind. Is this... you're right,
Oh,
but...
young Sprout,
Sure,
Sky.
go ahead.
Because that's the mask. The
Yeah.
one with the ability to control beings created from light.
Never mind. I got ahead of myself.
That word, it is said that if one should wish it, one can bring back the souls of the dead.
Oh. Alright then.
But to trespass upon that land is strictly forbidden.
That's why we're going there.
It will become clear in a second.
I'm sorry. I guess the power of boners is stronger than the
Oh,
so-called...
well, yes, also that. But it will become clear in a second. For now, again, the dialogue will tell.
And then the horse is just watching, like, okay, when am I gonna die?
By the way, minor technical information, actually, Agro is female.
Oh,
Oh, shit. Well, yes, Fumito, when I played Aiko.
It's pronounced eco, too.
Does it matter?
Semantics.
Kinda. By the way, pay attention to how Wander uses the sword here. It's actually really important for foreshadowing.
What? Oh,
No,
no.
please don't flash me!
Shadows, goody. Thought we dealt with them from your automata.
Alright, now it's actually Dormin, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
Thou possess the ancient sword?
Yes, we use the
Master
ancient
Blade?
English.
The master sword?
Yes.
Yes, maybe.
So thou art mortal.
Are you Dormin?
Who wants to know?
I was told that in this place, at the ends of the world, there exists a being who can control the souls of the dead.
Thou art correct. We are the one known as Dormin.
Speaking in the royal we.
And he's using a double voice, reflecting an abstract godlike entity.
Yeah.
She was sacrificed, for she had a cursed fate. Please, I need you to bring back her soul.
So you didn't. So she died before you could get laid, and you want help. Okay, fine.
That's personal information.
That maiden's soul. Souls that are once lost cannot be reclaimed. Is that not the law of mortals?
Not from the many bouts of ancient BS, from what they said, no.
With that sword, however, it may not be impossible.
Yeah, I got it from the MacGuffin shop. Really? So I wasn't just tripping when I got it.
That is, of course, if thou manage to accomplish what we asketh.
Ask him.
Ye old English.
Yeah, he never ceased to
Well,
speak.
what do I have to do, F?
Alright.
Go fetch me
simple.
25 coins. Behold the idols that stand along the wall. Thou art to destroy all of them.
Sounds simple enough.
Unfortunately, there are no bombs in this universe, so you'll have to do that in a different way. But those idols cannot be destroyed by the mere hands of a mortal.
Then what am I to do?
I love for me to win this direction of this scene in general. In this land, there exist colossi that are the incarnations of those idols. If thou defeat those colossi, the idols shall fall. So yeah, basically, this game is all about boss battles.
Yeah.
So
It
essentially,
was in that sense, it was really groundbreaking. Before that, only Gunstar Heroes was trying to do such a thing.
But
Yep,
hear this,
that's right.
Hold
the
on.
price you pay may be heavy indeed.
Mark those words, they're important.
doesn't matter.
It doesn't
Oh, it
matter
also
now.
did,
That's not what happened.
So, hold on, yeah, I'll let dialogue.
Very well.
It matters greatly, you're just not thinking.
Oh,
Maybe-
we're in the
maybe-
Gower planes from
Maybe
Xenoblade.
Shiri. It's just bad. Yeah, alright. Basically, well, first of all, I commend the game because... Oh, hold on, yeah, it's explaining how you do.
Raise thy sword by the light. And head to the place where the sword's light gathers. There thou shalt find the colossi thou art to defeat.
I shouldn't laugh, but every time he starts with the whole
With the
repeated voice,
echo.
it sounds like he's
That's
doing a
also another
remix.
thing, Jova. The voice, I can tell that at least for Dormin, they had to recall back the voice actors before you do the dialogue because it's the voice lines are the same, but it sounds
Now, beyond
different
thy way.
from the original. Where in the original, the male voice was more prominent, but here it's the female voice that's more prominent. I don't know why, but it just very easy. It's
Not
very
only
easy.
that, but like I said, I mean, whenever he starts speaking, I mean, they have the echo start
There
so
you go.
soon to the point where
That function is your marker. Where the sword, the beam sword points in a single ray. That's where you need to go. So there you go. First of all, in the first couple of minutes, the game tells you everything you need to do. Other than that, you get to maybe just a couple of minor hints, but otherwise, you're on your own. You just know what to do. You have a clear objective. Now go have fun. That's actually very interesting how it's presented. Second, Wonder, just like Papanir when it was for Yora, one will do anything to revive his girl. In this case, to revive his girlfriend.
Called
And-
Mono.
Yeah, cool, Mono. And he means everything. He will do.
M-O-N-O.
In this case, it's like literally make a deal with the devil, as we will see later on. I mean, it sounds simple enough. You just need to destroy these colossi that represent the idol. They will shatter, and then you'll get the back your girl.
there's
But
probably something about these colossi, though.
well, Jova, it's in
There's
true
always a
deal-
catch with these
Yeah, in
ancient
true deal with the
beings.
devil tradition, there's always a catch, but it's not important at the moment. What important is it's slaying time. But keep also in mind what I said before about Wonder, how he used the sword before, because it's going to become more apparent by the end of the game. Also, yeah, these are a couple of bonus items that you can get through different meanings, like beating the game, beating
I
time
bought,
attack, or collecting stuff.
I bought the Wonder Pack on the PlayStation Store, so I got these items for as a result. Anyway,
Cloak of Life and Life Sword.
so yeah, basically, there's all those items that can make a lot of stuff easier for you. However, you need to do specific, finish off, defeat all enemies in time attack mode, stuff like that. So basically, you have to work your ass off to get the better weapons and items.
Mhm.
So yeah, much like in a Zelda game, your primary weapons are your sword and your bow and arrows. You have infinite ammo, and
You have only one type of ammo, standard arrows, because that's not gonna be. Arrows are not gonna be your main type of weapons.
No. You need
they're
to
gonna
kill
be
the
more used
Colossus with your sword.
for distractions and everything. Your sword is your best tool, basically.
However, since I have the wonder pack, I can equip the ancient bow. What does the ancient bow do? You can see the weak points of the colossi from a further distance when you're using this bow. There you go.
Also, despite being huge and having technically only the colossi to fight, this open world is not completely empty. There are some very minor stuff that you can do, like for example some wildlife to hunt or to kind of play with. For example, there are some falcons that you can actually grab and actually get attached to for a while. There are also fishes in the water, but the main source is going to be collectibles in the form of lizards that you need to cut the tail of in order to expand, in this case, your stamina meter, I think. Instead for expanding your health meter, you can eat some special fruits that are around as well.
Another thing that will be incredibly apparent for those who have 100% in the original, like I have, is that they made huge improvements to the way Wanderer controls. He's less heavy, and there's a bit more responsiveness, but without taking away the sense of weight that was imperative in giving the game a sense of. I don't think realism is the right word, but let's just say it helps in putting you in Wanderer's shoes. Another thing
Also,
that you
go ahead.
Another thing that you'll also notice is that this remake is more than just a remake. It's also a technical showcase for the PlayStation 4 consoles. Not only does it look gorgeous, on the standard PS4 it runs at 1080p with a flawless 30 frames per second, and if you play on the PlayStation 4 Pro, you can play in 4K 30 or in 1080p 60 frames per second. The reason why this is in the 60 FPS is flawless as well. Once again, throwing back to the fact that the guys at Bluepoint are video game coding wizards. Why is this a big deal, you might ask, Shiroi? That's because in the original PS2 release, which fortunately was spared from...
I'm sure it ran terrible.
It ran... The game in the PS2... I'm sorry, the PS2 version runs like garbage. I'm sorry.
It was a miracle if you reached 20 frames per second.
I'm guessing that goes back to the whole thing. They bit off more than they could
Yeah,
do.
for me to weigh that was the original PS2 release was a bit too ambitious for its own good, because it was, for example, when this Colossus comes into the screen in the PS2 version, the frame rate tanks into the 15 FPS.
Anyway,
the only reason that people remember...
This is our first Colossus, Varus, the Minotaur.
The one that shows up on the cover, if I recall correctly.
It was also used in all most of the promotional material, both for the original and this.
So yeah, this is the first Colossus that we fight.
That's right, folks. Essentially, a Colossus is a bunch of gravel and spit all cobbled up together and happens to be lumbering around these plains. They're also a bit tempo-istic, you'll see.
Also, you may have noticed also for when Wanderer was grabbing, and now,
hold I up sword to reflect the light into the Colossus. Its vitals shall be revealed.
And then you need to stab them, quite literally. There you go.
This boss battle is really easy, which fits considering it functions as a tutorial boss battle, basically. Basically, here's how it works. When you're climbing, you have to hold R2 to keep climbing. Here's the thing. Notice at the bottom right corner, that's your grip meter. Basically, you can only continue to climb and grip while you still have grip meter. If you lose all that grip meter, you fall. So basically, when you're trying to climb one of the Colossus, be sure to take a breath whenever you find solid ground. Otherwise, you'll fall from the Colossus and you'll have to start all over again. That is, if you don't die in the fall. So climbing the Colossus themselves are more than just boss battles. They're basically moving levels. And it's become even more apparent because this is the easiest one. And here you go. See, sometimes the Colossus will try to shake you off. So basically, what I'm trying to do here. There you go. Here's his vital and sword. There you go.
Stab through the head. That's charming.
Here's how the stabbing works. You press triangle, and when you press triangle, it starts charging your attack. And you should see in the bottom right corner, whenever I raise the sword, that little white thing shows up. If you let it charge all the way, you'll do more damage.
However, it puts you in a more risky situation because the Colossi can start shaking, and in that case your animation is cancelled.
Yeah.
Also, hard mode means that the Colossi have more weak spots, because if it was in normal mode, that would have been the major weak spot to hit. But in this case, no, there's another one on the arm.
Another thing you'll notice is that, like, and we'll see this in the extras, the guys at Bluepoint clearly put a lot of effort into making the Colossi look beautiful, because look at that fur. Like, it looks
That
amazing.
next gen fur.
It's in 4K eventually.
Well, the game does run in native 4K in the Pro. And there you go.
Also, well, it's gonna become more apparent later. But also, yeah, the Colossi have these soul-piercing stare that
Hold on,
they
Teo.
practically never change.
Hold on, Teo.
Yeah. Yeah, right from the get-go, the game tells you when you made a bad decision doing this quest.
All I wanted to do was just lumber around. I didn't even get to use my club.
Yeah, he kind of wasn't doing anything. He was
So
taking his
right from the
stroll.
get-go, the game basically lets you ask
Oh.
a question. Also, that's charming.
The fuck? Well, that happened.
No, I don't want to be anywhere close to Beyond Two Souls. Please get out of the afterlife.
And these whispers that you're hearing are from Momo, by the way.
Momo.
Don't you
Don't
mean
worry.
Momo?
The girlfriend.
It's
said-
okay.
you
She'll
said
get
Momo.
reincarnated as a flying lemur bat.
That's the plot twist to this game. I
So
didn't
after
ask for
defeating
this.
each Colossi, you get transported back to the temple, conveniently enough. And
And another
you get
shadow from near.
No, like, you get someone staring at you. Dude, personal space, come on, man. Alright, so I guess it was nothing then.
All right.
So this is pretty much like a butch version of Link 2 or Zelda 2 Link's Awakening.
Yeah,
was it?
I
yeah,
mean,
Link.
Pedro
No,
also
not
said
Link's
before, but
Awakening.
this game takes a lot of inspiration from Zelda in general.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
gonna become... I will reprise this argument in the ending, because it's gonna be important for that.
And there you go. Since we defeated the first Colossus,
Accordingly, there you go.
its idol will shatter.
Calling it now. Breaking these idols will release some terrible evil.
1 down,
Well-
15 to go.
Yeah. Well, besides Jova, I mean, we don't even know what the kind of evil could it be.
But we know it's
The
evil.
evil within.
Thy next foe is in the seaside cave. It
So I don't even
moves
get to-
slowly.
So I don't even get to pick what order I take these guys down
No.
in?
No.
Rise thy courage to defeat it.
Basically, Dormin puts you towards the direction in progressive order of difficulty.
Yep.
Yes, but in something as open world as this, it'd probably be a bit shit if you went for a later one accidentally.
So I guess that just leaves me wondering, I mean, what's the point to having it be open world if, like, well, I mean, essentially the only thing to really do is kind of in a
Because,
given
Well,
As
order.
you
that-
said, there's other stuff to find.
Not just that, Jova, you always start from the temple.
Which thou
True.
should find an altar similar to that one. Offer a prayer before it, and thy wounds shall be healed. Basically, it's your save point.
Basically,
Got
Jova, you start always from the temple. You need to reach a complete different direction from before. There are no two paths that coincide with each other aside from the starting point. So the game is actually really ingenious in that. It gives these huge different locations completely separate to each other.
And you have to
getting-
find them.
Yeah, and you have your marker, like you said, the sword beam, but it gives you only a general direction. You need to get there on your own, and that's another story by, like, for example, surpassing sticks and slopes.
Oh, I get it. So it's kind of like Mario Odyssey in the sense, like, well, you get a general sense of direction, but you still have to map
And
some things out on your own.
remember, Dormin tells you only a vague hint of where you're supposed to go.
Almost
so a lot
like
of
he's
time,
testing us.
yeah, so a lot of time it's left up to the player to actually discover where to get.
Notice that my grip meter increased because every time I defeat a Colossus, my stats raise. So
Yeah, you get
yay.
down automatically increase after you defeat each Colossus, but again, you can also expand by killing the lizards.
Anyway,
All right,
everybody,
then.
in the next part, we continue to kill off the wildlife of this land. So,
Joyful.
so see you then.
See ya.
See ya.
See ya.